Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at the top 5 mid laners for solo queue in patch 5.17. Now yesterday we tried something new, we tried with just graphics, and some of you guys loved it, some of you really wanted the footage back, so I thought, well, I can't really say no to you guys anyway, so we're going to put both in. We're going to try that and we'll see how it goes. So first up on this list is going to be Diana, and actually Diana could be a lot higher on this list for some reasons, but some of the things just kind of bring her back down. We've already seen her a little bit in the LCS, but it's used in kind of a slightly different way, like a split pushing way, which isn't really what solo queue is about. So she does have a pretty crappy lane phase. She is melee, which is kind of hard against the meta mages right now, but she gets a huge boost in power at level 6. And the other thing that people have been doing to cover it up is by taking TP. So TP lets you base early and TP back to lane. It gives you an item advantage and it lets you survive a little bit more, lets you get some more farm so you don't miss it to the tower. And it also means you can counter gank and roam around easily with it later as well. So that huge boost in power at level 6 means she does ridiculous damage with the ultimate. Like you can Q in, you can ultimate, then ultimate again, and that is a huge boost of power, and you don't really even need ignite to kill someone, which is why TP is actually useful. So there are two big reasons why she isn't higher up in this list, even though she has a butt ton of damage. And the first one is that she has a kind of weak lane and she's weak in early fights as well. The second one, and the bigger reason, is that she has to go in to do damage, like really into the enemy team. She can't really poke, she can't really play defensively, she has to go balls deep. The problem with this is that if your team isn't very good or your team is behind, then they don't really have any follow-up for you, so you're going to be jumping in 1v5 and not really doing much. So next up on this list is going to be Annie, and anyone who knows me, anyone who watches my stream knows that I actually genuinely tilt when I play against Annie because she is just so dumb. She is really easy to play, she can one-shot people with her combo, and she doesn't even need to be that fed to one-shot people either. That is a stupid thing. She has a good lane phase and is incredibly easy to farm with, which means you always have pretty good farm with your Q. You just buy Mobies and roam with her, like you can affect the entire map. So not only can you win your lane, which is pretty easy to do, but then you take that lead and you can transfer it into other lanes. One of the reasons I say she is so easy to play is because in team fights you can just have like one big play, like you flash in, you ult in team fights, and you can win that entire fight just by yourself, just by doing one thing. It's crazy. All of those things weren't enough already. She works really well with the new items like Luden's, Deathcap, Rylai's. You're tanky and you one-shot people. Now that's just not really fair. Annie is really good, don't get me wrong, but the kind of reason she's at number 4 is because she's very telegraphed. Like everyone knows what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna flash in and ult, and it's kind of easy to read, I think. Plus she's very flash reliant and pretty low range, so if you don't have your flash you can't really do too much. So taking our third spot is gonna be Victor, and we've kind of already seen Victor a lot. Like we've seen him in our solo queue games, we've also seen him in the LCS, and there is one reason that you bring Victor into a team comp, and that's because he just has an absolute ton of damage. The really interesting thing with Victor is that first off, he has very high range poke, right? You use your E, you can extend it outwards to increase the range even more, and it's really hard for anyone to ever return that. The other side though, like you flip a coin and suddenly he has huge burst. He can 100 to 0 squishy targets if they face check him, and poke and burst are a very rare combination. Like normally it's one or the other, not both. So apart from his stupid poke and his burst, he has really good wave clear and a pretty good lane phase as well. And the good thing with Victor is he takes that strength in lane phase and then extends it throughout the game. So mid game is really strong and late game is really strong as well. As if your damage wasn't enough, you can zone people and stun people with your gravity field, which can actually be really handy in team fights, and his ultimate is just a huge AoE nuke. So a lot of champions have an AoE nuke, right? It's not just Victor, but with Victor it's instant, it's very easy to hit people, and it does an absolute ton of damage. So if anyone is ever close to you in a team fight, they're probably gonna die very quickly. So that basically sums up Victor, like damage, okay lane phase, and really good team fight. But the problem is that you have no escape, you're very easily camped, and assassins do make your day very difficult. These things can set you behind a little bit in lane, but more importantly in a team fight, if you ever get caught, if you're ever out of position, it is very punishing. Like there is no room for error. And the more I record this video, the more I realize that actually I'm saying damage so much, but the big thing with all of these champions on the top 5 is they all do a lot of damage, and that's kind of what we want from a mid laner in this meta right now. A good mid game power spike where you deal a lot of damage and can affect the game. Now a runner-up spot and number 2 spot is no different to this, but actually you pick him for a slightly different reason. Like Twisted Fate is a solo queue hero. It's a no effort roam, you can carry bad teammates by basically winning their lane for them. He has okay damage early, but it's not not fantastic. He has decent wave clear though, and he has a pretty average lane phase, I'd say. So he is different to almost every other champion in mid lane right now, and a big reason for that is because everyone else on this list is a good laner. They can win their lane, they can snowball from it, whereas Twisted Fate, you don't pick him to win your lane, you pick it to win other people's lanes. So when we get into the mid to late game, that's when his damage really starts to kick in, and he can definitely one-shot squishy targets with his Lich Bane, and also has a good amount of poke as well. There are two kind of underrated things about Twisted Fate. Okay, not really underrated, but people just don't really give it enough credit, is that he has a very low cooldown stun, which is good for team fights, and also his ultimate can just check where people are. It can check if they're doing Baron, Dragon, and you always have a lot more information. So that is why he's taken our number 2 spot on this list. Like, you're probably not going to spank your opponent in lane, but you don't need to. You just roam to other lanes, you get them ahead, and then mid to late game you can catch people when they're farming as well. The biggest problems with Twisted Fate is that he's very weak to assassins. Like, he can get spanked in lane pretty easily, so you have to play a little bit careful early, and he has no escape or mobility at all. Finally, moving on to our number 1 spot, and I'm pretty sure she's actually taken the number 1 for a while now, but no one can just dethrone her, and it's going to be Ahri. Now, Ahri is a very interesting mix of assassin and mage. She's pretty much the best of both worlds, which makes her a really good all-round mid laner. Like a lot of others on this list, she has a good lane phase, but she also has a lot of kill potential with her ultimate and her charm. This kind of transitions well into team fighting as well. Like, she can either sit back with some cooldown reduction and throw out her Q a lot, or she can dive in and kill someone really quickly. It's up to you and your playstyle. Another good thing about Ahri is it's very hard to fall behind. Like, you're impossible to gank with your Q speed boost and your ultimate, and even if you do get a little bit behind, you can get yourself back in with just one good charm in a team fight. The biggest problems with Ahri have always been that she's very skill shot dependent. Like, if you miss your Q and your E, you're not really going to do too much damage unless you're really fed. The other thing is that she's very weak against tanky teams. Like, she doesn't really have a way to get past tanks to the squishies at the back, but that's not really as much of a problem right now because the meta is shifting away from these big tanks. So moving on to our honorable mentions, but just to firstly say there are tons and tons of really good mid laners right now, so even if I don't mention them, that doesn't mean they are bad. They're probably actually really good, they just don't fit onto this list. Now, the two I want to mention are Fizz and Talon, and kind of for the same reason. Okay, so as you might have seen, I guess, with the other slides, a lot of the mid laners on this list are weak to assassins, and so the more these guys are played on the list, the more assassins will start to come back to counter them. Fizz and Talon are the best assassins right now. Talon is really underplayed, Fizz is actually kind of played already, but both have huge amounts of damage. They have survivability, great roaming, and snowball really hard, which is exactly what you want in an assassin. So yeah, this patch they might not have made the top 5, but I'd be surprised if they don't start to become really popular and do really well soon. Anyway, that wraps up my top 5 for this video. Let me know if you prefer the footage and graphics style. I tried to mesh them both together and keep everyone happy, but as always, I'll catch you in my next video.